Welcome to the inUpowers podcast, where we give a name and a face to emotion. We discuss the real and raw when it comes to mental and emotional health. We are here to teach you that emotions are information and behavior is a choice. We want to help you make safer connections through healthy communication by empowering you to understand what your emotions are telling you. I'm your host, Tammy Hymas. Let's get started. Hi, welcome to the inUpowers podcast. I'm Tammy Hymas, your host, and if you remember last week's, we talked about beUtofullness, or a word that I came up with after a ski accident and used it to kind of do everything, built beautifulness and the inUpowers. However, our Moments Minute, I want to talk to you about, have you had a plan for your life, but then reality took you somewhere else? Haha, that's how the inUpowers came to be. I had a plan for my life. I was a hairdresser. I was going to own salons. I was going to teach people they were beautiful. And what happened was I wanted to make cartoon characters. Well, actually, I came up with the word beUtofullness, which you can find in the episode before, which means be, which is your existence, you, your uniqueness, two, it's move forward, it's your emotional health, allow, accept, forgive, let go, set free, and fullness, which is your weaknesses, strengths, gifts, and talents. beUtofullness, or be you to your fullness, is being a whole person. And I was asked to give a TED Talk, and I had a book. And my coach, my Lisa, she's awesome. She helps a lot of TEDx people do coaching and stuff. She's given me great skills. And she said, hey, could you draw this beUtofullness out? I'm like, yeah, I can totally do it. And so I literally drew a stick figure of like what it looks like to become beUtofullness, or like a whole person, and like the process. And then she sat there and she stared at it and she goes, so what's the name of your character? I'm like, Yubi. Like, duh, Yubi. Like, it was just automatic. I was like, oh, that's Yubi. I was so excited. I went home to my husband. I didn't even go home. I went to work because I was very busy behind the chair. And my husband had an office. It was like a side garage where he sold cars. And he had a whiteboard. And I drew Yubi. And I go, look, it's Yubi. And he's like, haha, that's great. I go, oh, wait. And then I drew a tornado with fangs and grabby hands. And I said, oh, and that's Wham. He's like, what? I'm like, yeah, Yubi, which is beautifulness, and Wham, which is what about me? You know, that vampire energy sucking type person. And my husband just started laughing and said, those are cute. And then my daughter, she drew a Bruce from Finding Nemo. And so those three sat on that whiteboard for a really long time. And I always thought, oh, well, Yubi will be the face of beautifulness, and then Wham will just be that not so nice character. But as I had been standing behind the chair and listening to the same hurt over and over again, other characters kept coming to me and letting me know that they existed. And it was like, next thing I knew, OC and Pop and Fog and Sis were like kind of eating at me. And then during the height of the pandemic, Sue like kind of really came to be, and the characters just kind of were like, oh, this is what that looks like, and oh, that's what that looks like. And before I knew it, all the principles behind beUtofullness and all the education I had created for our stylists, which I had learned from counselors and therapists, so that our information was healthy for not just the stylist but the people in the chair, were turning into cartoon characters, which was wonderful. And I was like, wow, now we got to do something with this. We've got to make something happen. And Sue came to me at the height of the pandemic. And I was able to do a counselor of the VA. And I showed her a sketch of like what Sue would look like, and told her the character. And she says, I need that right now. And I realized, they're not built out. They're a sketch. They could be run. They're not developed. They need more work. And that was the moment that my plan changed. And the reality was, I needed to stop doing hair. And I needed to focus on these characters. And so that's what we did. I pulled my team together and we put beUtofullness on pause and the dream of that. And we started building out the character guide for the inUpowers. So we sketched out the characters and we drew them. Ashley was an amazing artist. She helped us draw the first set. And McKenna Anderson, she's the one that sketched the ideas because I can't draw, guys. I have a lot of ideas, but my fingers are not that talented. I need the team. And anyway, and so this was my team, and we hurried and made a really quick guide to just let you know who the characters were. And we didn't know what to do with it. We just knew it needed to be done. So that's what we had. We had a resource guide with the characters and some descriptions about them, and then a few of their nuances, but not much. And I didn't know much about them. They've definitely evolved. However, what happened was we started getting a lot of inquiries about them. Like teachers saying, well, do you have classroom material? And counselors saying, well, do you have stuffed animals? Do you have therapies? Do you have this or that? We had survivors use them, and they said, wait, we should probably turn this into something more so that we can have it for our survivors, because these non-threatening illustrated characters make it really easy for us to process our emotions. And before I knew it, there was so much, even first responders asking us to develop more. And I realized this is bigger than just introducing these characters that are in my head to help make beauty safe. This is a name and a face to emotion that our whole family understands. And I need people that are way more qualified than me to help build this out. And so that's what I did. I grabbed a team, a phenomenal team. We grabbed teachers and counselors and therapists. In fact, you'll meet them, and some of them, and project managers and artists and students and willing volunteers and parents of autistic children and anybody that would help, and tried to collect the best of what we could too, play therapist. And for the last 3 years, this amazing team has turned our ideas into classroom material from pre-K all the way to 7th grade, with principles and opportunities to understand so much. And our counselors are working on parents' classes, and they're working on making it easier for children who are in hospitals or nonverbals to be able to communicate. And it's been pretty remarkable. We are surrounded by awesome people who want to do good in the world, and they have found their way to us. And we've been able to create just the most amazing things. And now the inUpowers are a program you can actually purchase as of the 1st of this month, which is like a big deal. And even if you are too young to understand the words, the pictures make it very easy to understand the program. We've had nonverbal autistic children who have never been able to speak to immediately calm down by seeing a character named Ray, knowing that the family finally understands what they're trying to say. And we've had survivors heal from some of the nastiest hurts with these characters. And the inUpowers are amazing because they're natural phenomenon and body organs. You have body organs, I have body organs. All of it is everything we've always said. So like Pop is a brain, and he's wisdom and courage. Have you ever heard somebody say use your brain or trust your heart? Well, our heart is UB, unique brilliant energy, which I thought was beautifulness, which was last week's episode, but it's actually unique brilliant energy because all of them are acronyms. And so all of them are principles. Have you ever heard to trust your gut? Well, her name's Peg, protective, encouraging guidance. So we say this stuff. We just put a name and face to it. But more than that, we also put a name and face to the emotions we tend to recognize the most, because that's when our behavior is bad or hurtful, because our behavior is keeping us from where we need to go, or hurting someone else and keeping them from where they need to go, or just sabotaging our healthy tomorrows. And those are our reactive characters, or what we call the in the ways, and they're storms, a natural phenomenon. And interestingly enough, all of the proactive characters are body organs, but they all have their own systems in the body. So they all work together to make one whole person. However, weather and these natural phenomenons, they're elements, and they have to cross one with another to create the storm. So they're bleeding in boundaries and they're creating and escalating. But the coolest thing about the characters is their reactives are emotions that pass. Mother Nature can't sustain a storm, and neither should you. If you are having a storm in your life, which is what our reactives are called, and you're going to learn about all of these emotions from here on out, let it pass. Don't hang on to the storm. All it does is make you frazzled and stressed and hurt, and is keeping you from becoming healthy and whole. The whole point of this program is to teach you that emotions are information, and for most, behavior is a choice. And sometimes our emotion and our behavior are nasty, and we leave debris and yuck and muck for other people. And we need to take accountability for that. If you're having a stormy moment and you have hurt someone else with your storm, you need to make it right. Just telling someone you're mad and then getting to blow up and throw things and break things isn't okay. That hurts someone else. When your hurt is hurting other people, you need to work on it. So we call a thing here at the inUpowers. And we help you recognize that the power really is in you. Get it? inUpowers, power's in you. It was intentional. And my favorite letter's U, so you'll see it a lot. But the characters have been developed and offered in a program that can go to anyone who wants to strengthen their emotional health. And for those of us who are struggling to make safe connections and have healthy communication that doesn't involve our phones or our thumbs, where we're actually looking eye to eye and creating a connection heart to heart, those are the ones that matter. That's what the program's trying to do. It's to help us be a little more human together, because we are brilliantly made to be great, and we are so much better together. There is no way I would even be talking to you without my phenomenal team. And there's no way that my characters would look like anything anybody would want to look at without all my amazing artists. And for the support of friends and family who believed in this. The inUpowers program and this podcast is not just going to be talking about the program from here on out. From here on out, we're going to talk about emotions. But there are times in your life, too, where you've had a plan and then reality hit. And I'm not talking reality TV. I'm talking about your plan versus what is meant most right for you in your life. My plan was that beUtofullness would be my life. And that was the beginnings of the inUpowers, which is also a huge part of my life. I'm not happy. To be honest, it was really heart-wrenching to let go of doing hair. And now it's my passion, and you are my purpose. Reality is actually where your hands are. Where you are in this very moment is where you have control. What you did before and where you are going is either reflection or a plan. But where you have the most power in your life is where your hands are. So if you're driving in a car, be in the car. Don't be where you were or have an imaginary fight or come up with a plan that's not going to actually happen. And if you are, because I know I've gotten to destinations and not know how I got there, so I'm pretty sure you have too. But also, be adaptive and be ready to see all that the world has to offer you, because I promise I've seen it happen. And not because I'm special or privileged. You'll hear through all of this time that I've had plenty of my own hurts, and I haven't had all the hurts everybody else has had. And I'm not saying that my life is horrible. My life is fantastic. I'm just saying we all have hurts, we all have trials, we all have a plan, and life seems to laugh. So we might as well laugh and find the joy and find the power inside of us, understand our emotions, and make our tomorrows better, because you have control of you, because the power is actually in you. I look forward to seeing you every week, and every week we're going to offer you an invitation. This week I'm going to ask you to recognize your plan and your reality and to stay where your hands are. And I'm so excited to share this journey with you. And thank you so much for joining me. And I'm Tammy Hymas, and this is our inUpowers podcast. And now you know the birth of them, how they became to be, and now you'll learn more about the characters and meet some of the people that helped us develop it. And we will continue to do more. But I invite you this week to recognize what your plan is and what your reality is and what is the most right thing for you tomorrow. Remember, emotions are information, behavior is a choice, and you're brilliantly made to be great. Talk to you next week. Thank you for joining us on this week's episode of the inUpowers podcast. We are grateful you are here. Please share this podcast with those you know who might need it, and follow and rate us so we can continue providing this podcast to you. Follow us on social media to see more visuals about the inUpowers, and join us next week for another episode. Until then, remember, the power to choose is in you.